managing costs well and translating that into profit.
So they seem financially sound.
They do?
They have revenue growth, healthy margins, consistent profitability.
Mm-hmm.
But we've talked about the risks they face.
We have.
Let's revisit those and dig a little deeper into each one.
Okay, let's start with raw material risk.
Well,
We know they rely on a limited number of suppliers,
right.
and their sustainability report gives us some specific numbers to quantify that risk.
Okay, what kind of numbers?
So in fiscal year 2024, 48.72% of their key raw material suppliers were assessed.
Okay,
These assessments evaluate the supplier's financial stability,
right.
environmental practices, and social responsibility performance.
So they're really serious about this.
They are.
Okay, let's move on to health, safety, and environment, or HSE.
Right.
Safety is paramount,
It is.
especially when you're dealing with potentially hazardous chemicals.
Absolutely.
Accidents can have major repercussions
Yeah, and environmental missteps can really damage their reputation.
and potentially lead to fines and penalties.
Yes.
Have they had any major incidents?
Their report mentions one safety incident in fiscal year 2024,
Okay.
but it doesn't give specific details.
Right.
It also mentions 2 work-related injuries for employees and 1 for contract workers in FY24,
Okay.
which is comparable to FY23 when they also had 2 for employees and 1 for contract workers.
So it seems like their safety record is okay.
Yeah, relatively good.
But it's always an area where you need constant vigilance.
Absolutely.
So what are they doing to mitigate these risks and ensure the safety of their employees and the environment?
Well, they're implementing various safety measures,
Okay.
including hazard identification and risk assessment, or HIRA.
Okay. And HAZOP studies, which analyze potential process deviations.
Got it.
They also have a process for workers to report hazards
Okay.
and remove themselves from unsafe situations.
So it's not just top-down safety protocols.
Oh.
They're empowering their workers to take an active role.
Yes, it's about creating a culture of safety.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about information technology risk.
Okay.
Cybersecurity threats are always evolving,
They are.
and any company handling sensitive data needs to be careful.
Right, especially a pharmaceutical company.
Yes.
They're handling patient information,
Right.
clinical trial data, proprietary research.
It's a lot of valuable and sensitive information.
A data breach could be a disaster.
It could.
So what are they doing to protect themselves?
Well, the sources don't detail their specific cybersecurity measures,
Okay.
but they do highlight data privacy, cybersecurity, and data security.
So they're aware of it?
Yes, it's part of their risk management framework.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Now, moving on to their environmental impact.
Right.
We've talked about their green chemistry initiatives
Yeah.
and their solar power plant,
Right.
but I'm curious about their specific targets for reducing their footprint.
Yeah. Are they setting goals and tracking their progress?
They are. They're tracking Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions.
Okay.
So in FY24, their total Scope 1 and 2 emissions per rupee of turnover,
Okay.
adjusted for purchasing power parity,
Mm-hmm.
was 0.0000274 metric tons of CO2 equivalent per rupee.
Okay, but what does that tell us? Are they actually making progress?
Well, that figure is actually higher than the previous year,
Oh.
which was 0.0000172.
So their carbon emissions relative to revenue have actually increased.
Yes, it's something to look into.
It is?
Yeah, are they
Hmm.
becoming less efficient?
Right.
Are they expanding into more carbon-intensive areas?
Yeah, these are important questions.
They are. It's a reminder that sustainability is a journey,
Yeah.
and there will be bumps along the way.
What other environmental metrics are they tracking?
They also provide data on their waste intensity.
Which measures waste per rupee of turnover.
Yeah.
And in FY24, it was 0.00000091 metric tons per rupee.
Okay, but again, we need context.
We do. To their credit, they have an active waste management strategy that focuses on reduce, reuse, recycle.
The 3 R's.
Yes. And they're integrating green chemistry principles
Okay.
into their product design to minimize waste.
So they're being proactive.
They are.
Okay, let's shift back to social initiatives. We've talked about the educational campus.
Mm-hmm.
What other notable social programs are they involved in?
Well, they've partnered with the Tribal Integrated Development and Education Trust,
Okay.
or TIDE, on an empowerment project
Okay.
in the states of Assam and Meghalaya.
What does that involve?
So TIDE has been working in these regions to support tribal communities
Okay.
and empower women. They've set up microcredit groups
Okay.
to help women become financially independent.
That's fantastic.
And they've done income-generating projects like
Yeah.
weaving, bamboo craft, and mushroom farming.
providing tangible economic opportunities.
Yes, especially for women.
Yeah, that's really inspiring to see.
It is. And they're not just focusing on rural communities.
Okay.
They also mentioned supporting the renovation of a medical center in Mumbai.
Well,
This center provides affordable health care to underserved populations.
so they're addressing a critical need.
They are. And they also mentioned a partnership with Shiv Enterprises,
Okay.
which focuses on environmental initiatives.
Okay, so it seems like they're involved in a wide range of initiatives
Yes,
aligned with their commitment to corporate social responsibility.
exactly.
They're not just focused on profit, they're investing in their employees, the environment, the community.
Yes, they're trying to be a force for good.
Okay, before we move on, I'm curious about their employee relations.
Right.
How are they managing their workforce?
Well, their report highlights employee well-being
God.
as a key opportunity. They recognize that it can boost productivity and job satisfaction.
It's about recognizing that a happy workforce is a productive workforce.
Exactly. And they're tracking some key metrics.
Okay.
As of March 31st, 2024, they had 2,095 permanent employees.
Okay.
And their turnover rate in FY24 was 10.71%.
That seems a bit high.
It does. It suggests there might be some challenges.
Yeah.
But in their annual report, they address this.
Okay.
They say that turnover has actually come down by 0.37% compared to the previous year.
Okay.
They attribute this to their efforts to strengthen employee bonds
Okay.
and promote growth opportunities.
So they're working on it.
They are.
Well-
What about diversity and inclusion?
Yeah, do they have any specific metrics for that?
They mention that their initiatives have increased female representation.
Oh, what
They
they're-
don't give numbers.
Okay.
They also mention having an internal complaints committee, or ICC,
Okay.
to address sexual harassment.
So creating a safe and inclusive environment.
Yes.
That's good to hear. Now, I'm about to talk about their governance structure.
Okay.
Who's on the board? What kind of experience do they have?
So the board is a mix of executive and non-executive directors, and they have a lot of experience in the chemical and pharmaceutical industries.
So they understand the company and the industry.
They do. Can you tell me more about some of the key people?
Yeah. Who are some of the standout figures?
Well, Arendra Vigogri is the chairman and managing director.
Okay.
He has a long history of success in the chemical industry.
Good.
And Rashesh C. Gogri is a non-executive director.
Mm-hmm.
He's been key in the growth of the Aarti Group.
So a lot of experience at the top.
Yes. What about their committees?
Yeah. Do they have the standard ones to ensure good governance?
Yes. They have an audit committee,
Okay.
a nomination and remuneration committee,
Hmm.
a stakeholders relationship committee,
Okay.
a risk management committee,
Got it.
and a corporate social responsibility committee.
So they're ticking all the boxes.
They are.
Good governance is important.
It is.
Let's talk about financial management. We talked about cash flow before,
Right?
but what about their debt, cash flow, and working capital? How are they managing all of that?
Well, their financial statements give us some insight.
Okay.
Their cash flow statement shows strong cash flow from operations in FY24.
That's a good sign.
It is.
Right.
And their cash and cash equivalents have also increased year over year.
Okay, so healthy liquidity.
Yes. But we don't have specifics on their debt levels,
Okay.
which is important to understand.
Right. We need to know their debt to equity ratio,
Yes.
interest coverage ratio, debt maturity profile
All of that.
to get a full picture.
Right, because high debt can be a problem.
It can, especially if interest rates rise or the economy weakens.
Exactly.
What about their working capital management? How are they handling inventory, receivables, and payables?
That's something that needs more attention.
Okay.
Their cash flow is strong,
Mm-hmm.
but their working capital management could be better.
Okay.
Their inventory levels have been increasing.
Okay. And that can tie up cash
Yeah,
and impact efficiency.
exactly.
Excessive inventory can hurt profitability.
It can.
So they need to find the right balance.
They do.
Efficient working capital management is essential.
Yes, especially for a company growing as rapidly as Aarti Pharmalabs.
Right.
Okay, let's go back to their risk management framework. We've talked about the risks, but what's their overall approach to risk management?
They have a dedicated risk management committee
Okay.
that oversees the framework.
Mm.
They do regular risk assessments,
Okay.
and they monitor and evaluate risks constantly.
So they're not just ignoring it.
No, they're being proactive.
And they're adapting as needed.
They are.
It's the dynamic process.
Right, because the risk landscape is always changing.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about their long-term outlook.
Yeah.
What are some key factors that will shape their future? What opportunities should they pursue? What challenges should they prepare for?
Well, their ability to innovate in the API space is crucial.
Okay.
They need to stay ahead of the game
Right.
when it comes to developing new intermediates.
Continued R&D is essential.
It is, and they need to be strategic about it. Find areas where they have a competitive edge,
Right.
where they can differentiate themselves,
Okay.
and where there's a real need for new solutions.
They also need to be aware of the evolving regulatory landscape,
Yes, regulations are always changing.
especially in this industry.
They need a strong regulatory affairs team.
Right. To keep up with the changes
Exactly.
and be proactive.
Yes, anticipate changes and adapt.
What other challenges should they be prepared for?
They need to maintain a strong financial position.
Right. Manage debt,
Yes.
maintain margins, ensure cash flow.
It's about finding that balance between growth and stability.
Right. Not too risky, but not missing opportunities either.
Exactly. They also need to build relationships
Okay.
with suppliers and customers.
Relationships are key in any business.
They are, and their commitment to CSR will be important.
Right. Consumers and investors are demanding more from companies.
They are. They want to support ethical and responsible businesses.
It's not just about profit anymore.
No, it's about purpose, making a difference.
Being a good corporate citizen.
Exactly. Let's take a short break.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we'll delve deeper into these opportunities and challenges.
All right, we're back and ready to wrap up our look at Aarti Pharmalabs Ltd. We've explored a lot, their history, their financials, their risks, their sustainability efforts, their commitments to social responsibility.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has.
Yeah.
We've uncovered so much about them.
Yeah.
They're clearly a major player in this industry
They are.
with a lot of potential, but they're also operating in a very complex and dynamic environment
Right.
with both opportunities and challenges ahead.
Absolutely.
So let's look ahead. What are some strategies Aarti Pharmalabs can use to thrive in the future?
One of the most promising areas is emerging markets.
Right. We talked about that before.
Yeah, they have growing populations, increasing healthcare needs,
Right.
and often less developed pharmaceutical industries.
So it's a big opportunity for a company like Aarti Pharmalabs.
It is. They've already proven themselves.
Right.
So now they can expand into new areas with maybe less competition and high growth potential.
It's like they've played in the minor leagues, and now it's time for the majors.
Yeah, but it's not that simple.
Right.
Emerging markets are complex.
Yeah.
Each country has its own regulations,
Right.
healthcare systems, cultural differences.
So what do they need to do to be successful?
Well, thorough market research is essential.
Okay.
They need to understand the specific needs of each market.
Right. What diseases are common?
Exactly.
What treatments already exist?
Yes. What are the regulations?
They need to know all of that before jumping in.
Absolutely. They also need to build strong relationships with local partners.
Okay, like distributors and healthcare providers.
Yes, those relationships are crucial.
And what about pricing? Emerging markets can be price sensitive.
They are. They need to find that sweet spot
Right.
between being affordable and profitable.
It's a tough balance.
It is.
What are some things they can do?
Well, they need to analyze pricing in each market and develop strategies that are both competitive and sustainable.
Okay.
They might need to explore different pricing models,
Okay.
like tiered pricing or volume discounts.
Right, so they can reach more patients but still make a profit.
Exactly.
Okay, so beyond emerging markets, what else can they do?
Their CDMO-CMO business has huge potential.
Right, helping other companies develop and manufacture drugs.
Yes.
How can they make that segment even more successful?
One way is to specialize.
Okay.
Find niche areas where they have an edge.
Okay.
They already have expertise in highly potent APIs, or HP APIs.
Okay.
These are powerful drugs that need special handling.
Right, because of their potency.
Exactly. So by focusing on something like HP APIs,
Okay.
they become the go-to experts.
Right, specialists.
Yes, and they can attract specific clients and even charge more.
Because they're the best at what they do.
Right, and to stay ahead in manufacturing,
Really?
they could invest in cutting-edge tech.
Like what?
Things like continuous manufacturing and 3D printing.
Right. Continuous manufacturing is about streamlining drug production.
Yes.
And 3D printing could lead to personalized medicine.
Exactly.
Tailored to each patient.
That's right. By embracing these technologies, Aarti Pharmalabs can become leaders in the field.
Yeah, and attract new clients.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about financials, strategies, but what about sustainability?
Right.
That's a big deal these days.
It is. It's not optional anymore.
Right. Consumers and investors want to support companies that are doing good.
Absolutely. Aarti Pharmalabs has made progress with their green chemistry and solar power, but how can they go further?
Yeah, what else can they do?
They could set ambitious targets,
Okay.
like achieving net zero emissions by a certain date,
Okay.
or reducing water consumption and waste.
Having those targets in place helps them focus their efforts
It does.
and shows everyone they're serious.
Yes. And they could go beyond just reducing their own impact.
Okay.
They could work with their suppliers. Encourage them to adopt sustainable practices.
It's about the whole supply chain.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about employee relations again.
Right.
They've reduced turnover, but it's still a bit high.
It is.
What can they do to make employees happier?
Investing in development and training is key.
Okay.
Give employees opportunities to grow. It shows that you value them.
It's about creating that culture of learning.
Exactly.
Something.
Competitive compensation and benefits,
Of course.
but also a respectful and appreciative work environment.
Right, where they feel valued.
Yes. Maybe flexible work arrangements,
Okay.
recognition programs, open communication.
It's about making employees feel like they're part of a team.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's talk about risk management.
Okay.
We've talked about the risks, but how can they strengthen their framework to be prepared for anything?
Well, one thing is to develop detailed contingency plans.
Oh, yeah.
Not just identify the risks,
Right.
but have a plan for what to do if they happen.
Like backup suppliers. Or diversifying their products.
Right, or crisis communication plans.
So it's like a fire drill.
Exactly. And everyone needs to be involved in risk management.
Not just the committee.
No, everyone from the top down.
Everyone needs to be thinking about it.
They do.
Okay, let's go back to the question from the beginning.
Okay.
Given their focus on advanced intermediates and API development, how can Aarti Pharmalabs capitalize on the next wave of patent expirations?
That's where their forward-thinking approach comes in.
Right.
They anticipate market needs.
Mm-hmm.
They can identify blockbuster drugs that are losing patent protection soon
Okay.
and start developing generics now.
So they're ready to go as soon as those patents expire.
Exactly. They can grab market share right away.
And potentially make a lot of revenue.
Yes. It's a smart strategy.
It is, but it requires a lot of knowledge and resources.
It does, but Aarti Pharmalabs has shown they can do it.
So that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Aarti Pharmalabs Ltd.
It does.
We've covered so much.
We have
history, business model, financials, risks, sustainability, future prospects.
It's been a really interesting exploration.
It has. Aarti Pharmalabs is a company with a lot to offer.
They are.
Strong track record, commitment to innovation, and they're dedicated to making a positive impact.
Yes, but they do face challenges.
They do. Competition, regulations, the need to keep innovating.
It's the nature of the beast.
So what's the final verdict?
Aarti Pharmalabs is definitely a company worth watching.
That concludes our deep dive into Aarti Pharmalabs Ltd. We hope you found it informative.
We do.
We encourage you to explore the source materials further for a deeper understanding.
There's always more to learn.
Until next time.